Have you ever bought an early access game? Maybe you've played Risk of Rain 2 and felt the satisfaction of a run coming together. Or perhaps it was the dominating feeling of slaying your first troll in Valheim. Could it also be the absolute joy as tomfoolery fills your soul in barotrauma? Even if you haven't played these titles, it's likely you've seen plenty of content derived from them. And for great reason. These games are infamous for how fantastic they are, and all three were in early access at some point or another. But even though early access helped to produce these three looming erections of fun, you likely still distrust, or at least are skeptical of anything that has early access attached to it. Why? Well, in short, it's because of a game you can no longer play called Second Extinction, and those like it. In long, well, down the rabbit hole we go. Alright, what is Second Extinction?
You are a member of the EXU, set in a frozen Earth where dinosaurs have resurfaced. Your elite unit is tasked with causing the second extinction of the reptilian rapture, and there is but one way to do it. Kill, slaughter, and maim. And oh sweet velociraptor nipple, do you have a wide variety of tools to perfect that mission.
The game is a combination of horde mode shoot 'em ups and open world exploration. Dotted around the map are different dopamine boosters for you to take part in. Activities such as send off the box, shoot down the drone, and press a button for lights are among the most, mind-numbing among them. Luckily, for all organisms with 3 brain cells or more, the game has some more exciting features. Second Extinction presents 4 game modes to enjoy. Tundra, Expedition, and Horde mode are your balls to the walls action, while Gateway Cygnus is your basic training to get you used to how the game feels. So how does it feel? Punchy. The movement is very fluent, and while I wouldn't say it's as liquidy as Doom Eternal, it's certainly up there. Speaking of Doom, the guns feel just as striking. There is a lot of weapons, and the sandbox of destruction is huge. You're fighting overgrown Florida gators from deep underground, so it's a phenomenal fortune that humanity's last R&D team was able to put together a device capable of making every bullet feel like a meteor. There's also a plethora of explosives at your disposal. In the grenades category, you've got incendiary, cluster bombs, electrified, and my personal favorite, sticky firecrackers. They're honestly not that effective, but few things bring me as much joy in this game as bringing the dinosaurs a proper 4th of July. Besides pockets full of popcorn, you also have station payloads to some, like extra ammunition, if you're lame, or utilities such as a grid of mines, an auto turret, maybe an airstrike. Oh, and who could forget the Thumper? The Thumper is thumping useless, but it distracts the Triceratops, I guess. Explosives aren't the only thing to go boom in this game. Of course, you need your main dino dental damager. There are quite a few guns, and I can safely say that each one genuinely feels unique, even compared to its genre counterparts. You've got your shooter staples like the assault rifle, the shotgun, and of course the 9. But the team wasn't afraid to get adventurous. Some of the more unique guns are this handheld artillery cannon, the hand cannon, and the rocket launcher. Every gun kicks harder than a gorilla's fist through an infant's skull, and god does the airtime for these reptilian ragdolls get high. So now we know what we're working with, but what creatures can we use these bundles of booms on? Well, we've got a wide array of bipedal and quadrupedal scalies for you to scale down into atoms, though not as many as there should be. To start, we have 5 raptors: basic, electric, acid, and mole man. Oh, and who could forget the alpha? Higher on the food chain is the Triceratops, or as the game calls them, bulls, and the Ankylosaurus, or as the game goes by, flatbacks. Finally, highest on the food chain is the Rex. The only way to describe its attacks are pure unbridled eat dick energy. The best example I have for the Rex's hogwash is when it spawned in, jumped on me, and using its ancient summoning seance, called forth those which lay below in order to drag me into the depths of eternal darkness. The dinosaurs are fun to fight, but they get as old as their ancestors very fast. The raptors, while unique, are also all the same. They all look different, but their approach to fighting you is Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. It's a dog pile of gray as the basic bitches melee you while the acid raptors spurt their gunk, and the blue boys flashbang you on occasion. For the bigger dinos, it's not all that different. The bull rushes you and you dodge to the side. The flatback spins at you and you jump back. There are special variants to the bull and flatback, but they don't add much. The bull's body is armored, so you need to knock off the plates before you can get real damage in. And for the flatback, it's a purple glowing mess of neurotoxin that stops you from moving if you're hit. The more audibly or visually inclined viewer may have noticed me compare this game to Doom a number of times. Second Extinction is nothing like Doom, but the fast-paced, always moving combat is very reminiscent of it. As fun as it is to jump around like an orangutan on crack with high-tech explosives, after a solid half hour, you'll wander through the snow thinking, what now? Doom is repetitive, and that's not bad. Most games are. They function off of 30-second loops of gameplay. These loops can be wildly different, but typically 30 seconds all the same. The trick is adding intriguing obstacles to complement these loops. In Doom, slowly you get new weapons, new enemies to fight, and the arena changes every battle, adding new dimensions to the combat. In Second Extinction, you can change your weapons, you can change your character, but the arena is always the same. Your enemies are always the same. As many different grenades as there are, the explosions are always the same. Doom isn't just fun because of its loop, it's fun because of what's around its loop. Beyond basic training, there are 3 game modes. The one you'll spend most of your time in is Expedition. In this, you are free to explore the map at your leisure, and fight any scaly beast in your way. Besides the mind-numbing activities from the beginning, you can take part in fixing dropships, collecting dino eggs, and clearing out caves. All 3 of these have you call in a drop pod, grab the container within, either fill up or empty out the container, and then watch the drop pod leave. 3 different events where you do exactly the same thing. One activity that's a bit different is raptor capture, where you call down 4 raptor cages and try to lure them into it. The big old dino cockblock that this activity has is that it stops the gameplay loop entirely. You can't kill the dinos, and either the AI is dumb or smart as Harvard student shit because they struggle to get into the traps. So you just end up running in circles until all 4 cages are full. The last real activity is the best, and by far the best. In the bottom right of the map, you can find this pillar of gas canisters used previously to flush out the dino caves below. You can activate the machine canister by canister and fight increasingly difficult waves of dinos, culminating at the end with a fight against the Rex. It starts out slow, but ramps up very quickly, and provides a decent challenge to top it off. So, what's wrong with it? Well, this is the only one. The only place to do this challenge is in the bottom right sector. Once it's done, that's that. Back to container loading. The last major feature is the war map. Here's how it works. The dinosaurs have taken over different regions. This is measured in 3 levels of difficulty: easy, medium, and hard. The higher the difficulty, the more dinos, and the more dino jizz. I wish I could show you the highest difficulty, but it doesn't exist. Well, not really. Second Extinction is always online. As you explore the map and do different tasks, you make contributions to the war effort. As each player completes tasks in their game, it contributes to everyone's game, effectively clearing each zone. The problem is that the zones get reset each week anyways, and the most fun to be had is in the 3rd tier zones. So the moment the signal is sent from the server and that zone lights up red, everyone hops in, bangs the dinos into oblivion, and then it's gone. No more hard zone for the rest of the week. It wouldn't be so bad, there is a separate difficulty slider, so you can still get the huge hordes, but the Rex will only spawn in the highest difficulty zone. So unless you do a gas pump or a story mission, good luck ever fighting it. You may recall in the beginning I said that you can no longer play Second Extinction. And if you thought the gameplay looked appealing, you might have gone to check only to find its corpse of a store page. What happened? Allow me to take you on the journey that myself and many other players had. On the 25th of August 2022, we were given the update that announced the game would be coming out of early access on October 20th, 2022. The trailer that came with the announcement featured new dinosaurs, new equipment, and the biggest kahuna of information, a shiny, sandy, sexy, new map. This was huge. The game desperately needed new dinos to fight, and even more desperately needed another map. Because while snowy mountaintops are cool, it got old. So it was set, just shy of 2 months, and we would get the 1.0 launch. October 14th, 2022, another update. The dev team thanked the players for all their help during early access, and informed everyone that they were working very hard to get the final build out. But to ensure the final build was as good as it could be, and that the team was working in a healthy manner, it would be delayed until November of 2022. Games get delayed all the time, and most would prefer a polished game a bit late than a bug jungle a bit early. November 29th, 2022. The next announcement. Just as before, the team said they were working very hard to get the update out, but a few bugs and crashes they were having difficulty replicating prevented them from doing so. Once again, they reiterate how they wanted to deliver a high quality game while also keeping a healthy work environment. They also say that until then they have many blog posts, teasers, and other things lined up, and to stay on the lookout. No updates or teasers ever came. Only one post, almost a year later. Dear Second Extinction community, we write to you today with a mix of emotions as we share important news about our future plans for the game. After thoughtful consideration and exploration of the best course of action, we have made the difficult decision to end active development for Second Extinction. While Second Extinction is well loved among our players and the gaming community, it regrettably did not achieve the success we hoped it would. Additionally, some unforeseen, show-stopping issues prevented us from leaving early access and game preview. As you may recall, we initially planned to launch the 1.0 version late last year, but the discovery of a few critical issues forced us to pull back close to release. Unfortunately, it became clear that our small team lacked the resources necessary to hit our quality targets and exit early access and game preview, and the investment needed to do so was too large for us to bear. After evaluating our options and working during this year to find other potential solutions, this became the reality our team had to face. Second Extinction will be removed from sale on all storefronts, but the game servers will remain active for the time being, allowing everyone who purchased Second Extinction to continue playing solo or with friends. We will eventually take the servers down later next year, but we will communicate this well in advance once we have more information. Although this isn't the outcome any of us hope for, we want to assure you that there are no layoffs associated with this decision. The passion, talent, and skill of the team who worked on Second Extinction is being put to good use on other projects across Avalanche Studios Group. We ask for your understanding and compassion towards the team members involved on the project who poured their hearts into this game as we move on to our next adventures. Thank you for being part of this journey, and for your unwavering support. We are eternally grateful to have you by our side. Thanks for the memories, Systemic Reaction.
Let's have a look at our surroundings.
There is a lot to unpack here, so let's take this one piece of ass suckage at a time. For starters, you are misleading everyone, Systemic Reaction, intentionally or not. You said that you not only explored other possibilities, but the best one was to end active development for Second Extinction. And the reason this choice was brought on is because of a few show-stopping issues, and the investment necessary was too big to bear. There are two parts of this that I feel are utter baloney. First, back in October of 2022, you said that there are some obstacles you needed to overcome. And then in November of 2022, you said, we need more time to iron out some particularly stubborn bugs. These bugs include some crash issues we've been having some difficulties replicating, which increases the time it takes to fix them. Crashes and bugs are not show-stopping issues. So what the hell actually happened? The way I see it, there are two options. Either A, you lied through your teeth about how finished the game was and were intentionally vague about the details as a way to generate hype around 1.0, hopefully bringing in more sales, or B, what was said was true and something else happened behind the scenes that prevented you from releasing that you haven't been public about. I get that it was stated Second Extinction was not as successful as it needed to be, and that funding for the project was too low. But come on, you had one more update that supposedly was almost done. It certainly would have brought in more sales and a big wave of players, old and new. So then why? Why did this game fail? There are a multitude of reasons, and I think the simplest one is the biggest. Because to put it simply, the game is undercooked, with no fat to speak of, and that's a good enough reason alone for its failure. But I think there's more to it than that. The innovative feature was the war map, the always online, your actions help other players focus. I think it was this feature that really put Second Extinction in a headlock of doom from the beginning. The idea itself is interesting, but within the game, it's pointless. The only effect that you and others see are the icons on the map changing from yellow to green, and the different zones themselves are a little less gooey with a little less dinos. On top of that, the best zone to fight in is just completely removed a few hours after it goes up, meaning the vast majority of people don't get to experience the most fun part of the game. The cream on top of this gargled nutsack is that each week, the map is reset anyways, meaning all progress is completely wiped, and the player base, in essence, made no progress. It's also the reason that once the servers shut down, anyone who bought the game, those who paid money for it, won't be able to play. The game at its core is built tied into this online mode, and it would be a monumentous task to take it offline. And even if it is possible, the studio isn't going to put that kind of effort into a dying game. A mode that I glazed over was the story missions. I could tell you about the little bits of lore that it drops, which in all fairness is interesting, and I could tell you about how they actually shake up the objectives. The thing is, I don't see a point. The lore, what little there is, despite it being interesting, is only given through this block of text at the start, which doubles as your mission briefing, and the little bits here and there that Sarah gives you. What's there is cool, but it's equivalent to a book with no ink. I would have loved to see a long campaign where you drop down into the frozen wastelands at the center of the dinosaur emergence, slowly sifting through what little remnants of humanity are left, searching for a way to cause the Second Extinction. From there, anything is possible. A long linear campaign, an open world survival. Fuck, something like Darktide could have worked. There was so much that could have been done. Second Extinction as it stands now feels like a tech demo. It's a blast to play. The gameplay is excellent, but there's nothing to do. Unfortunately, the one claim to fame it has doesn't amount to anything. Now, time for a pop quiz. Why did Early Access fail Second Extinction? Think about it for a moment. Got your answer? If your answer had anything to do with the game's mechanics, as we've discussed, then congratulations, you're right, but I'm only awarding half points. The truth is that Second Extinction was released into Early Access far too early. A consistent theme throughout this discussion has been how so many parts of the game are underbaked. If I'm being honest, the 1.0 launch wouldn't have saved this game. Soviet Womble made an excellent video talking about Early Access, and in it he says this.
So if you're a developer or an aspiring developer, I want you to remember, early access is fine, but there is such thing as too early. Take the time to get it right, and only open the floodgates when you think your product is ready for it.
Second Extinction's problem is that it was simply released into Early Access far before it was ready. Let's go back to my three examples in the beginning. Risk of Rain 2, Valheim, and Barotrauma. All three games, despite being in Early Access, were completed games. Yes, the developers still needed to add levels, enemies, items, and all sorts in between, but the games themselves were done. You could get a god run with lots of variety. You could fight all 5 bosses and progress your character to godly heights. You could become a clown and truly be the
Essence of tomfoolery.
In Second Extinction, you could shoot the dinosaurs. If the dev team was given more time early on in development to actually develop their game further, explore new and interesting ideas, then maybe when it launched it could have made bigger waves, been a better title, and lived on as something more than a failed project, and a perfect lesson for future early access games. Thank you for watching.